All right. Hello, everybody. For those of you who are watching tonight, thank you for putting up with my late start. Whenever something like this happens, I really can only just announce it on Twitter, but I know Twitter is one of my smaller ways of getting information out. There wasn't actually a particular, so this was a decision that I made just because I was on a bit of a roll for some projects that I've been working on. I know I always refer to these things in terms of my streams and whatnot. Now I found out that it's a long weekend in Ontario this weekend, but I've actually committed to doing something on Monday, so I will be streaming, and it'll be a special thing. So I said, okay, well, given the fact that I've kind of already chopped my long weekend down, I was like I said, I was on a bit of a roll on this thing. I found a way just basically to write a couple of programs that automate a lot of the very tedious work that's involved with some of these side things, and it'll likely take the form of a blog and possibly a cool little tool for. Well, I mean, it probably is really only interesting in like a business sense, unless you really like kind of looking into the backgrounds on that. But it's related to a really narrow and I think very interesting part of economics that I know, but is the sort of thing that tends to get people like falling asleep if you're at a party. So I don't get to talk about it a whole lot. But anyways, that's what I was doing, and then I just I made dinner and got myself a little coffee. So a later start, I'll try and do the full length, but in particular, I'm really looking forward at going back to Night Team 4. Hello, Tall Man Alive, good to see you. There's a couple things like this came out of nowhere, and I found out. Well, okay, for me it came out of nowhere. Allison Smith had been making games for a while, and the thing that's so interesting about this one, it's a game. So it's got connections to. Good to see you too. It's got connections with the Secret World, which I really enjoyed. Obviously, the Canadian connection is an important one. I think ARGs are really interesting, and the people behind it seem very cool. I know Anishel had stopped by the stream and was extremely pleasant to have inside of chat. It's got a very robust community inside of the game. And they've been doing this stuff for a while. Like I'd known of the Black Watchman, and it was just one of these things where I was like, oh yeah, I really should check that out. And I never did. So after covering this during the Steam sale, I actually wound up buying the Black Watchman. I don't know how to pronounce it. I think it's Aniro, the Dream World. Anyways, the second game by Allison Smith. And then I also bought the System Administrator expansion for this one, although I haven't played around with it yet. I kind of figure like I should understand the game a little bit better. So there's been a couple of expansions to this game. It's not so much a reason why I haven't been covering it as much. Essentially, it's just sort of the when I have a free day for casting, there's a few different games that people really enjoy, and I try to give equal time to all of them. But of course, that also means that favorites like Night Team 4 wind up kind of going on ice for a little while. And one of the things that sort of hurt it on the margins was that they added this really interesting Twitch drops system. And it's great, and I really wanted to try and promote people getting that, but it seems that the way that the system works is you actually need to have a minimum number of people in the stream for it to work. And so, as a result, like, it was really exciting for me to be able to say, hey, if you like this game, if you just got it, here you go, you'll get some stuff. And unfortunately, I kind of feel like I almost wound up misrepresenting the benefit of the stream, because I don't think anybody actually got. There were the cosmetics that went through. That was great, but I don't think any of the Goliath stuff wound up dropping for people. So that's not a reason not to stream the game, but suddenly, like, the reasons to like really push ahead and really give people, really give people a little boost while they were interested in the game, or if they were on the fence about buying it. that reason sort of just fell out from under me. And so essentially it kind of wound up getting back in line, and I would play it on occasion. For myself, I've been doing a little bit of time in, in some of like the bounties, because obviously I don't want to do any of the content that, would be a first time on the stream. But with that in mind, those are sort of my excuses for not having a really consistent run of it. But I'm obviously very grateful for being given a chance to have the key. And, I definitely want to keep coming back to this game when I have the opportunities. So that's why we're back to it now. So when last we left it, I believe I don't think I went into, I should have picked a new look before starting. I think I'm just going to keep all of these here. My God, what is this? The quantum package. Entry. Watch. No, this might be appropriate. Which one do I have equipped right now again? It's Cadet. All right, well, I've watched stuff on Twitch. I think that's the most appropriate right now. What else? Should change the background, but I think I'm going to kick with that for now. I also really like this emblem. It reminds me of Hal. Okay, let's start. I think I'm actually going to start with a bounty just so that I can get myself back on track. And then, like I said, I believe we have the entirety of Chapter 4 to get through. So that's going to be my goal for the end of the cast tonight. Now, what'll happen after that? So the open world stuff interests me quite a bit. But I also sort of know that this is one of these cases where one of the really nice things about the community is the fact that they like to help each other out. And I actually think that's a really cool thing that these games do. And that seems to be true for the Black Watchman, which I really enjoyed. And I'm debating about whether or not I should actually do that on cast. The only thing is if I start doing Black Watchman on cast, that means that broadcasts where I'd normally do Night Team 4 wind up being Black Watchman casts instead. But I think one of the things is because I'm not really big on backseating, it might be a really bad fit. So one of the things that I think I might wind up doing is I might do some of the open world missions, but I might do them as vodcasts. So that way there's still content for people to watch. But in this particular case, because, I've either solved the puzzle or I haven't, and that's been locked into a recording, that would be sort of a way that I can sort of, spoil-proof myself and not have to worry about backseating. And then obviously, there's still the interactivity of chat. I'd just make sure that I'd be there, I'd be inside of chat. So that's one of the things I'm considering on open world. If you really do like watching the Night Team 4 broadcast, do let me know what you'd think about a format like that. But I don't have any strong views on doing it one way or the other at the moment. But that's a possibility that I've been thinking of. But without further ado, let's take a quick look at a bounty. It looks like I only have one, and we'll see how much of this stuff that I remember, and then we can start the missions proper. So, UK's Global Gazette has asked GCHQ for help finding one of their missing reporters. Reporter Sebastian Bird from globalgazette.com will find the name of the company that he was investigating. Okay, I know we've done one of these before, but of course, just because we've done it before doesn't mean that I'm going to know what, it doesn't mean that I'm going to know how the mission works. So, scan Global Gazette. Nope. I normally do 1,000, but in this case we'll do 500 just for the benefit of speed. And then when I'm usually searching, so usually when I wind up checking out these, I do the S-fuzzer just to see if there's anything else that I missed out. So essentially, for those of you not familiar with this game, what this winds up doing, it's D, right? No, it's T. This is just going to try the common sort of subdomains, and while we're doing that, I'm going to see if there's any weaknesses inside of Global Gazette.
Andromeda shell initiated. What can I do for you?
Oop. So the Andromeda shell is actually going to make things a little tricky, just because... Okay, fingerprint. That's what I want to do. All right, www.global. So in the story for the game, essentially our computers were attacked, and we've lost some of the capabilities inside of the Stinger OS. And so as a result, I need to use the Andromeda shell in order to do some of the activities from before. So what we're going to do here, we're just going to finger the essentially we're just going to be looking for any vulnerabilities inside of these websites. If we don't find any, then we need to see whether or not we can try and attack it from maybe taking advantage of someone who's a little too trusting of their email. And that's all going to be with the intention of, essentially you can kind of consider this as a little bit of a puzzle game. There's a really great story behind this, and we'll get a chance to see that in a minute. Okay, so it's MS Exchange. So... Oh, wait. I didn't need that. Search, exploit, MS Exchange. So CVE 2014-0294, Microsoft Front 4-point Protection 2010 for Exchange Server does not properly parse email content, which might allow remote attackers to execute arbitrary code via a crafted message, aka RCE vulnerability, or an alpha exploit script via TCP/IP. Preferred delivery method TCP/IP, exploit to use the alpha exploit script. So I believe it was contact us. So what we're going to do, because hello Shep's Life, because we know that there's a weakness inside of the contact us, we're going to turn around and essentially take. Oh, I don't think we have. Oh, we do have Fox Acid.
Fox Acid server connection initiated.
We're going to use the information that we got from knowing that there's a weak version of MS Exchange, and we're going to use basically the exploit that was just mentioned here. So we select TCP/IP. They want the alpha exploit script, which is right here. And after midnight, I think it usually tells me when it needs to do something else. So all this stuff is already pre-populated. If you want to do everything in the console, you usually can. Or I actually think this isn't available in the console, but the game does. The thing that's really neat about this is that they have a level of authenticity in the sense that there are links to like Wikipedia articles and things like not Parrot, Kali Linux. And it will, if you want to learn more about it, you can. That's actually one of the things that really attracted me to this game, is that it will, if you want to go down the rabbit hole of some of the actual real world ideas that are behind this game, you can. And I've always liked that, whether it's Civilization or, Europa Universalis or Kerbal Space Program. I really like it when I'm sort of given a toehold to understand a new subject through playing a game. It's not a substitute for your own learning, but it makes it interesting enough. In this case, the game sort of abstracts away some of the slower or the harder to understand elements while still keeping it sort of authentic enough that you sort of have this fantasy that you are doing sort of I don't think Black Watchmen quite count as a state, but sort of high level sort of intrusions. And then, of course, if you want to go down the rabbit hole, you really can learn a lot out of it. And then, of course, this game takes it another level further. And if you take a look at some of the story mode stuff, it actually takes headlines and it gives you sort of this what if in terms of what's going on behind the scenes. And so it has that other dimension where if you are sort of keeping up to date with current events, it just adds this nice extra little layer to it. So
Fox acid attack launched.
sorry for smacking the microphone there.
Successful.
Okay.
Connection completed.
So one of the things that I kind of do reflexively, just because I always take a really long time on the S fuzzer anyway, I'm going to just go for help. S fuzzer I. So what I want to do here is I want to take Global Gazette. I'm going to set the 60 seconds again, but this time I'm going to look for internal domain. So it's, if basically now that I'm on sort of a system that's controlled by Global Gazette, it may be that they have something that's hidden from the outside world, which now I'd be able to access. So this can run in the background while I'm looking for other things. Now, I'm trying to remember what all of these things are
Andromeda
that are
shell
corrupted.
Initiated. What can I do for you?
Oh, this was wrong. Although apparently... Oh, damn it. Okay, so we'll copy that, and we should be able to scan the Active Directory doing this. So scan the Active Directory. So there's nothing internal that we found inside here. You're able to run a scan, but didn't find anything useful. Okay. Let's... I don't think the file browser will be helpful here because we don't actually... We're not really looking at anything here. Okay, so let me just think again. We're looking to find out. So we need to find out who Sebastian Bird was looking for. And we're on Contact Us. Oh, damn it! I didn't mean to do that.
Turbine C2 registry initiated. Connection completed. Andromeda shell initiated. What can I do for you?
I'm not sure which one you're talking about, Shep's Life. Oh, you're talking about this thing, the network administrator? So that's, if you go to, under the DLC for Steam, there's a couple of soundtracks, but then there's the rather, like, it costs more than the base game, but the Network Administrator DLC during the Steam sale. I like this game enough that I wanted to get the Network Administrator DLC. Now, I don't know the game well enough. Like, obviously, I'm kind of I'm lost again in terms of I know I've solved this one before, but the whole reason I did this was so I could get myself familiar with the different tools again. But essentially, with that DLC, you can make your own level, which can then be accessed through the Hive Mind.
Network active.
So essentially, it's a little bit like Chaos Reborn, where certain players would be able to make their own realms. Similar idea there. Okay. Let me think again about what I'm up to. So, we didn't find anything on the S-Fuzzer internally. I'm ultimately looking to see the employees. I don't think there's anything about the phones that we really need here. Yeah, so essentially what I need to do right now is get inside and find a list of employees. So I sort of feel like it should be inside here. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, no, that's not right actually, because I should be trying to access the Active Directory this way. But then when I went to the Active Directory, it didn't say there was anything interesting there. I remember this is a lot easier when it I was able to run a scan, but I could not find anything useful for you. Okay. I don't think that's right because it's, yeah, that would be at the higher level. Okay, well, you know what? Let's just step back for a minute and let's see instead if there is something else to be found.
Initiated.
We didn't actually take a look to see whether the M... Oh. We didn't take a look to see if the M would do anything. You mean the thing that I did at the very beginning of the mission? Global cassette. Yeah, I didn't misspell it. Okay. Yeah, well, I had to find a way to get onto this server somehow, right? Okay, so for lack of a better option, let's see if we can find anything inside of social engineering. So this isn't exactly the best attitude to have towards the game, which is like, okay, if the game allows me to open the social engineering toolkit and it'll start populating databases, that must mean I'm able to, to do something. Obviously, it would be a little bit better if I had a more specific chain of reasoning. But in this particular case here, I'm not really able to make anything out of the... I'm not really able to make anything out of the kind of the contact us site. So instead, I'm going to see if I can take advantage of the social engineering toolkit. I can't. Yeah, there's no manual entry for me to do here. So let's do Microsoft Word because it's a newspaper. Create a payload. There's only one that we have here. And all right. So this is quite literally a fishing expedition. I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to find here, but just because I haven't been able to get anything with,
Turbine C2
I haven't been able to get anything with my current setup. I'm going to try again on somebody who's part of the company. So again, just out of curiosity, I just let this thing run in the background while I'm doing other things.
Turbine C2 registry initiated.
Now, I guess one of the challenges that I have here is like, it's all well and good for me to say, oh, and I only have a minute on here, so I really need to I really need to make it pay off. This doesn't really tell me anything on its own. The best that I could really hope for is the fact... Yeah, I rather regret having to use the Andromeda shell here just because I've developed something of a muscle memory for these menus, but I don't remember exactly everything here. Anyways, we'll see what we can find. Okay, this is kind of funny that it's like this. Okay, so there's nothing internal that we need. I think at this point it makes as much sense to just go back to the... I think it just makes as much sense to go back to the contact us.
Network disconnected.
So the other possibility is that I mistyped with the S-fuzzer, but I don't think that's actually true. Okay, fine. I'll use Fox Acid again.
Fox Acid server connection.
So I'm just connecting to the machine that I did last time.
Fox Acid attack launched. Fox Acid attack successful. Connection completed.
Oh, so there is an expiry on it. Okay, so I only got 10 minutes inside of that. So... yeah, so that was a tab complete. This is ridiculous because there's no reason to think why... There's no reason to think that it should be any different. Apparently now it's just not connecting to anything. So let's just go back to the basics here. The one thing that I didn't do with the OSINT scan is to see if there's anything with those IPs that I can work with. Well, seeing as I'm doing it now anyway. What I'd meant to do, though, was look at... so the file browser, I would actually need like some kind of a directory, and obviously this... yeah, this isn't taking it. These we already know about. There's no IPs here, so there's no other path for us to go down. The other possibility that I was allowing for was that
What can I do for
the
you?
mobile site... Oop, I always get this wrong. There's a possibility here that the mobile site was... oh. So there's the possibility that this was weak, but we already tried that, whereas contact us. Right, so this is the thing we're on right now, and we've already accessed. So, we're on the right track there. There's nothing internal, so this is the server we should be on, like, based on all of the information that we have. And so the part where I'm struggling is finding where... it's basically just trying to find that next step in terms of turning basically this compromised machine into a lead towards that investigator or that reporter. So again, if I do a deep internal network scan, this makes sense. You know, SRV1 members, the Active Directory, SRV resources, printer 1, lobby printer. So there doesn't seem to be any reason for me to go to... there really wasn't any reason for me to like try this again, because we already know that it says that there's nothing interesting in the Active Directory, but like there's even less of a reason for me to check the printer. Just want to make sure I'm not like misunderstanding. Yeah, okay, so. So the thing that I don't like about these man in the middles is I always wind up like just guessing. Yeah, in this case, there's nothing. I think the only time that the LLMNR has worked for me has been when I was specifically told to do it in a mission. Okay. What other possibilities can I explore here? There's something in forensics. I don't think this is relevant to what I need, though. I mean, there's also... Oh, actually, I think there... Okay, there is a possibility here, but I think, honestly, it's just going to say that there's no Wi-Fi hotspots near. Yeah. So it's like, okay, maybe there's like the cell phone of the reporter or something like that that's walking by. So, again, I don't like doing these kinds of... Oh, no, not Hydra.
Initiated.
I don't like doing these kinds of brute force approaches, so like this we've already tried. For lack of a better option, we can do the deep scan again. Oh, surprisingly, the printer doesn't have a file system. Whatever will I do? And then I think localhost is mine. Yeah. Huh. Okay. So, this gives me information of domains that I need to attack. Our OSINT has already said... well, you know what? There's one thing that I... Oh, no, I already did an sfuzzer for 60 seconds, and it gave me the exact same domains. So there's no IPs to follow from here. So if I'm going to access if I'm going to access Global Gazette, it's going to be through Contact Us. There's no secret domains or anything along those lines, unless I search longer. I mean, I suppose for lack of a better option, I'll at least let that run for like a minute and a half. So normally there's like it doesn't always crack it open, but like normally there's at least some kind of an indication of where you can go next. And I would have thought that the Active Directory, either through the fact that you could actually use the tool, you could use Faye for this.
What can I do for you?
I really would have thought that scan the Active Directory on this thing would have been it. This isn't an Active Directory, but just to eliminate possibilities. Yeah, so like this is at least encouraging in the fact that it recognizes that it's a proper Active Directory and that there's just no information inside of it. I guess the British just don't get their man. I'm mildly tempted just to try and do the mission here so that I can get rid of the garbage on this and try it again. At the very least, this bounty, it's not going anywhere for 16 hours, so... alright, I'm gonna say this was not an encouraging start. But I'm going to, rather than just sort of flounder around on something that I'm clearly getting wrong, I'm going to hope that playing the main campaign will get me into a frame of mind that makes me a little bit more in line with performing well. Okay. Operation Royal Gate. Investigation real-life minimal level intermediate ambient spy agent. Using the help of global intelligence agencies, identify and confront the person responsible for stealing from Night Team 4 and leading us on a wild goose chase. So it looks like... Oh, I've done a few of these. I've actually gotten up to Chapter 4 on this. Oh, okay. I wasn't anticipating that, to be completely honest. Let's replay the intro because it's been a while.
Operation Nitro Winter gave us some information on HSC, but almost ended in catastrophe. In the end, Anna grew thought on their feet and managed to avoid certain political disaster. We still need to find out who initially stole our tech, so the chase is still on. Night Team 4 has been in contact with several intelligence agencies around the world to help us find the thief once and for all. So far, HSC is still our best bet, but be careful, Agent. We don't want a repeat of the last mission.
Okay, so I believe the virus was... I guess that had to be part of... So it was the answer hunting season, ace magnets. One of these was definitely the part where we got compromised. Anyways, let's just jump into Big Brother, and I'm sure we'll make sense with the rest.
We know from our research that Mukden is a notorious hacker with ties to major attacks in the United States and Russia. This person first appeared on our radar several years ago when they orchestrated a series of critical attacks against government intelligence systems. After laying low for a while, Mukden reemerged with attacks on larger targets using multiple aliases. The magnitude of the chosen target is usually how you can recognize this hacker's signature work. All signs point to Mukden when it comes to the creation of Rainvest and its mutation into Verboten. We still need to understand the mechanics behind their activity and their ties with HSC and Alan W. Burton. Despite their less than forthcoming cooperation, GRU has agreed to let us investigate Mukden. We've gotten them to admit the notorious hacker's involvement in their agency and their whereabouts as a black hat while they are employed by the government. They've granted us temporary access to an operative archive, so here's our chance to have a run-through and gather as much information as we can. Research Mukden's operational history within GRU, as well as their actions before they were recruited to determine how and when they came into contact with Soft Crash. Use your intel files as bait to bring Mukden out of hiding. There's bound to be something they'd want. We've outfitted the files with backdoor Trojans, much like your encounter with Dr. Ripper in Operation Castle Ivy, so once they're downloaded, you'll have a way into their network. Your mission objectives are: log into GRU's network and find Mukden's personnel file. Find a way into Mukden's computer. Find a known associate or group related to Mukden's activities.
Good luck, Agent. We need you on this one. Okay. Alan Burton, Rainvest's head programmer, was coached by an infamous hacker. Find everything there is to know about them. Access the GRU personnel archive file drive. Download Mukden's personnel file. Upload a Trojan bait file to CryptNet, and find an organization or group related to the hacker. So...
Somehow, the fine folks at Division 66 managed to convince GRU to give us a limited C2 access to their personnel files. GRU gave us a temporary username and password to log into their database. The details are in your local host, so time to find the Russian connection. I don't know about you, but I'm excited.
He is only saying that because I'm going to do all the work. Looks like I lost another system on this, by the way. I should probably read all of these anyway, but top secret SI relative Division 66 op reference Royal Gate GRU temporary folder access analyst Sergeant Wheeler system Stinger OS notes. I was in communication with the GRU about the severity of our situation, and they have agreed to assist us, but it took some convincing, so let's not waste this opportunity. Alongside the C2, they've provided us with temporary access to one of their personnel folders, which could give us clues on Mukden. The folder is in the server's secure temp 19478/files and has been declassified for us. You can log into temp 19478 using these credentials, but do not attempt to breach any other drives that you might find. Username temp 19478, password F9ZE_UVK. According to GRU, the folder mostly contains outdated personnel files that are heavily redacted, which is why they don't mind us sifting through it. It seems to be our best shot at finding more information on Mukden. During their employment at GRU, Mukden has gone through multiple usernames, so if you can't find their file, try looking under the following names: Liquor4DK4, Aromic, and Technobug, or Technobog. All right, I should probably refamiliarize myself with this because I'm going to need to gain access to my DNS scans. Andromeda Shell User Guide, Agent Wheeler, Andromeda Shell. The Andromeda Shell is a protocol in the unlikely event that our systems get compromised or infected by a virus that managed to pass through Faye's filter. The shell is basically Faye's module. It lets you give Faye control over infected applications so that you can continue to use your station even if you're being attacked. The Andromeda Shell comes with 4 main protocols. 1, the Cleanup Protocol gives Faye authority to perform a search and destroy on a virus and then perform a deep clean to make sure it's out of your system. 2, System Diagnostic and Override Protocols lets you know if any of your modules have been corrupted by the attack and, with the agent's approval, gives Faye total control over that particular module. 3, Faye Attack Vectors. Once a module's control has been given to Faye, she will then perform an automated attack, scan for valuable information, and provide it to the agent in record speed. And for Faye 2.0, this information is classified. Please contact Commander Bradshaw for authorization. And then this one definitely was way back in number 1. That's not relevant here. And yes, we have already done this one, and I'm not entirely sure Mossad would like us running around their servers again. So it's really only one thing to do. Let's jump in and see what the Ruskies have for us. So secure temp. CURE-TEMP. One 9-4-7-8. I must be really screwing this up. Okay.
Turbine C2 registry initiated. Connection completed.
Now we can try. Because it's a folder, not a server. Okay. Temp 19478 F9ZE_UVK.
We've hit the mother lode. If only we had the time to actually go through all this. There were a lot of things to be learned from these files. But we've got a Doppeldylan to catch, so let's stay focused and find Mukden.
Okay, so Mukden or one of these aliases. It looks like it's alphabetical, so we've got. I mean, this is possible. Got atomic, but not aromic. I suspect some of these are similar for a reason. And then Technobog, that's actually the one that matches.
Okay, our work is done for now. I've asked Faye to translate the Russian file. Once it's done, it'll be uploaded to your local host. But that may take a while, so for once, we can take a breath and catch up. I've been meaning to ask you this for a while now. If you designed and built a treehouse, money's no object, what would it be? For me...
Translation complete.
Wait, really? Man, I was all excited to tell you about Vine Villas by Voorhees. But apparently Faye is working double time and Mukden's file is ready. It's in your local host, but when this is all over, I want to circle back to this.
Thanks, Dylan. Okay, personnel file. Certification ID 28494 FHW Ivanova. File under Ivanova, GRU active. Lector 4DK4 Aromic Technobog. Main Directorate for the General Staff of the Armed Forces of the Russian Federation. Katerina Ivanova, age 32, sex female. Aliases, I'm not going to read those again. Home address, I am terrible with Russian. Yulitsa Dostoyevsko, 25, not even going to try. Moskva, the Russian Federation, 127473. Role in the Armed Forces, active GRU agent, network intrusion operations, Moscow office. History in the Armed Forces, GRU agent Ivanova was recruited 2010-17 following arrest for crimes committed in Moscow as part of an illegal black hat group. Ivanova was offered a full pardon for her crimes in exchange for a 5-year service contract with GRU. She was put into training November 2017 at blank and became an active agent in May of 2018. Current activity as of December 2nd or possibly February 12th, 2019. That would be February 12th. GRU agent Ivanova is currently assigned to intrusion operations against multiple targets, including blank blank and the Ministry of Blank and Spice Labs, as well as coordinated blank attacks on social media websites. She is reporting directly to blank. Current Armed Forces tools, February 12th, 2019. GRU agent Ivanova operates using standard issue GRU hardware along with blank. Cleared access to CryptNet, trade.cryptnet.auction. Presumably, I will use Hydra for that, on node ID F2N3959P. Current oversight, GRU agent Ivanova is being monitored at Humint grade C2 by FSS agents blank and SIGINT grade H4 on her GRU hardware, personal cell phone, laptop, and tablet. Agent Ivanova's security clearance level is in Russian. Okay. Nope, that's intrusion.
Information gathering module initiated.
Connect. It is nice of them to include tab complete. Oh yes, we've done this before. So F2N3959P. Right, so we need to give a Spies Lab back. All right, this part I am a little lost on. So they want the back door. Presumably we have something to offer, even if it's fake. I will also clean up my... So this I'm going to leave to the side because I'm going to need to access that again. Does it say anything about spies where they're located? No. Yeah, so this is the funny thing. I would have assumed that somewhere in here there would have been the... I would have assumed that there would have been some kind of file for me to upload, so it's possible I have to compromise spies in this particular case. So, let's see what we can do.
Andromeda shell initiated. What can I do for you?
So, please fix the DNS in vhost.
Module override activated.
But I don't actually have a website for Spies Lab. So that won't work.
Turbine C2 registry initiated.
Okay, so let's just take a minute here and see if I missed something in the file browser info. And you know what? I had that open already. Do not attempt to breach other drives. Yeah, okay, so there's nothing there. We are still in the directory, but these are all PDFs, so these aren't going to be anything that we can have fun with.